Chosen one, listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because right now, in the quiet of this moment, you are standing in the cross-current of something that most people miss or rush by. Your heart is not just a muscle, not just a biological engine. It's the command center of your spiritual destiny. There are forces surrounding you inside and out, and one of the deepest mysteries most try to explain with soft language or tangled philosophy is the heart chakra. But I want you to hear this. The heart chakra is not new, not foreign, not something for only seekers or mystics. No, the heart chakra is the place Christ himself modeled and ignited, and you need to see how his energy wants to flood and align you right here, right now. Let me tell you what the world does to a heart locked up, chosen one. When your heart is pinched, you can hold money in your hand and still feel poor. You can sit in a room of familiar faces and still be a stranger. You can get good news from a doctor but dread what they'll say next. That is not how you were built. That is not your inheritance. The enemy works all night to convince you unity with Christ is some cloudy religious notion, that it's just an idea, something you simulate on Sundays, something you practice in silence. But right now, as you inhale and exhale in this space, I'm telling you, Christ was the blueprint for heart-wide-open energy. For a chakra burning so strong, walls fall, wars stop, and even trauma trembles. I need you to see how this alignment begins, not with chanting, not with external ritual, but with surrender. Let me break it down for you, because the world is clever at counterfeiting what is real. The heart chakra is the epicenter of unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness. The exact attributes Christ bled into reality. When Christ walked, he didn't withhold because of someone's story, status, reputation, failure, or their future. He didn't curse by suspicion or create distance because of threat. No, he magnetized broken people because his heart was open, healed, broadcasting the frequency of heaven. The Christ energy, the authentic current radiating from his spirit, is the magnetism that calls out Lazarus, that softens Zacchaeus, that shifts Mary Magdalene from chains to chosen. There is a moment, I promise you, chosen one, a moment right now where your heart wants to lock, shut, and armor itself as life bruises you. You know exactly what I mean. You felt the betrayal, phone call unanswered, deal evaporating, someone you trusted ghosting with no explanation. You replay the last conversation, your chest tight, sleep stolen at 3 a.m. Let me take you right into that moment, so raw, so real. It's the middle of the night and there's a burning in your sternum that isn't heartburn, it's heartbreak. Your chest pounds as if knocking for rescue, the sheets feel heavy and your mind races. Did I do something wrong? Was my vulnerability a mistake? Maybe I should have said nothing, built one more wall, buried my real self deeper. So you scroll, looking for a message, a like, a sign that proves you aren't invisible, but the notifications are silent. You take a pill to quiet the panic, but it only presses pause. It doesn't delete the ache. You whisper a prayer, not a majestic blessing, but a cracked voice plea. God, why does love hurt like this? The night drags on, and when morning finally arrives, the world expects you to perform, to show up, to smile. The alarm blares, the sun shines, but inside it feels like you're carrying a meteor where your heart should be. Now listen to me. The reason it hurts this much isn't because you are weak or dramatic. It's because your heart was designed for full flow energy, for union, for connection undiluted by shame or disappointment. When that channel jams, you feel it everywhere. Relationships grow brittle. Money slips through your fingers, health gets shaky, creativity sputters, and even prayer becomes hollow. But Christ energy, when you align your heart chakra with his, every single area of your life starts to hum with restoration, with peace that doesn't evaporate when the bank statement arrives or a friend walks away. Right now, in this second, he is not outside with folded arms. He is inside, knocking, not to judge, but to open every stuck valve and pour his own current into your broken supply. Let me take you into the first arena where this alignment triggers visible change. Relationships. When the heart chakra draws from Christ's energy, people who once triggered resentment become the ones you pray for without effort. The old text notifications that used to raise your blood pressure now land softly. That parent who reminds you of every failure, the colleague who edges you out, the friend who vanished. Suddenly, your response is different. Not just tolerance, but compassion. And not just for show, something inside you, a warmth, starts to radiate even when there's silence, even when there's misunderstanding. Insults no longer write your identity. Betrayal no longer predicts your next step. There's a current of, "Father, forgive them, they know not what they do," that begins to repeat within you, softening every old scar. Suddenly you see unity where there was always division. Overnight, right now, invisible wounds are cauterized by holy love. Let me show you the next shift in your finances. When your heart center aligns with Christ energy, generosity flows, but so does overflow. You stop gripping your accounts like they're your only lifeline. The fear that one mistake will bankrupt you, the anxiety that if you tithe or give or share, you'll be left with nothing. All that breaks. Suddenly, provision feels personal. The invoice that hung in limbo? Paid. The extra fee they said was unwaivable. Waived. Not just random luck, but a string of small, undeniable rescues. Debts shrink, doors open, and you realize your wealth isn't just measured in numbers, but in the ability to live unafraid of not having enough. Right now, overnight, you taste the reality of give, and it shall be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. That isn't just ancient poetry, it becomes financial oxygen. Now let me explain what happens in your health. When light pours through a heart freely aligned with Christ, stress drops its grip. Headaches subside. Sleep becomes deep, unbroken. You wake up without the tension that's been living in your jaw, your shoulders, your gut. Medical reports begin to shift in your favor. Where appointments once ended in bad news or wait and see, now you walk out with unexpected answers, healed wounds, unexplained recoveries. Even the little things, a pain that lingers, a rash that flares, find themselves subject to a new authority. Right now, as you read this, Christ energy is touching the physical, not just the spiritual. Not just healing by inches, but by leaps and bounds. Let me tell you what shifts in your calling, your purpose, your platform, when your heart is open and broadcasting Christ energy. Ideas come you never could have schemed in your own might. Deals that always flirted with maybe become certainties. You find yourself in rooms you never imagined. Your name is brought up in conversations you weren't even part of. That old voice, "Who do you think you are?" gets drowned out by new confidence, but it's not arrogance. It's the steady realization. Doors no one can shut have swung wide for me. Opportunities multiply, delays lose their power. Things that were stuck, frozen, bound, are loosed right now overnight, and you know it's not hustle, it's heaven. Finally, let me take you to the highest level, spiritual clarity and peace. With your heart chakra and Christ energy in alignment, prayer isn't just noise and chores, it's the purest conversation. You sense guidance before you even ask. The old claws of anxiety, depression, spiritual confusion all lose their grip, not just on the surface, but at the root. The voices that told you God is disappointed, that you're falling short, that breakthrough is always out of reach, those voices are drowned by the unbroken flow of acceptance, belonging, steadfast love. It is a river that will not run dry. So, chosen one, as you hear these words, as you breathe in and out, know this is not a temporary emotional boost. It is your permanent inheritance. They wanted you locked out, but you are walking through open gates. They tried to weaponize your tenderness, but it's become your unshakable strength. They wanted you to close up, shrivel, harden. But overnight your heart expanded. They hoped your forgiveness would make you look weak. But heaven has made you untouchable. The doors they tried to barricade have crumbled. The peace they tried to rob can't be stolen. All the rivers they tried to dam are flowing in your direction. Right now, suddenly, overnight, it is done. Chosen one, stay right here with me because the story is not finished. In fact, right this moment you are standing at the turning point the enemy feared you would ever reach. There was a season, and you know this to the bone, where it looked like nothing would ever heal. Where every attempt to love, to mend was met with silence, accusation, or another layer of rejection. You pressed in, you prayed, you refused to harden, and all the while the enemy was whispering, "This is your reality. Get used to being alone. Get comfortable with the ache in your chest because nobody is coming. Nothing is changing." But listen to me. The reversal started when you said the pain would not define you. The wound was not going to outlive the promise. What the world hasn't seen, what even you sometimes doubted when you couldn't trace the evidence, was that inside that darkness, the Christ energy in your chest was gathering force, growing louder, burning hotter. Not silent, not absent, not dead, just hidden while your capacity stretched, while your trust dug new wells deeper than old betrayals. Let me take you back to those nights when reversal didn't look possible. In the hours before dawn, when your mind ran laps through everything you'd lost, everything you tried to fix, everything that stayed broken. They never saw your tears soaking the pillow, never heard your silent bargains with God. Just show me something, one sign, one crack of light. You got up and went to work with heavy eyes, forced to smile at people who could never understand how hard it was to just show up. Friends withdrew, some blamed you, others just faded and left you to wonder if you were ever enough for them to fight for. You questioned your own value, replayed conversations, scrutinized your words for any mistake. Certain it was all your fault that love slipped away or doors stayed closed. Let me tell you why that season had to be endured. Because Christ energy is revealed in the place where everything else fails, where performance, pretending, striving, all run out of gas. You arrived at the end of yourself only to find you were standing at the beginning of resurrection. They wanted a funeral. Heaven scheduled a rebirth. Right now, vindication is rising for you, not by chance, not as an accident, but as the direct result of your refusal to become bitter, your unwillingness to let go of compassion even for those who wounded you. Listen to me. There are whispers in rooms you cannot see, where the same people who assumed your kindness was weakness are now recognizing it as invincible strength. The very ones who questioned your faith, doubted your motives, even spread rumors behind your back. Those voices are starting to change because you did not retaliate when you could, because you chose to pray instead of plot revenge. A new authority has marked your life. Let me show you the ripple effect. The tables have turned. You no longer chase after affirmation or explanation. Suddenly, people who thought you needed them to be whole are realizing they needed your heart to feel human. Those who shut you out are dealing with their own locked doors, and the ones who tried to expose you now feel exposed by their own hollowness. Vindication is not loud. It is not about spectacle. It is about watching God set things right, quietly, powerfully, undeniably. Let me explain how this vindication begins to break out in tangible ways. Suddenly, connections you thought were lost forever start to rekindle, but this time, you hold all the power of discernment. You can see through manipulation and recognize real repentance. Opportunities circle back, not out of obligation, but because the room cannot move forward without you. Invitations show up that you didn't petition for. Suddenly, people seek your advice in private, admitting they misjudged you and want to understand how you found peace while surrounded by chaos. There is no bitterness in your tone, just a steady affirmation. This is what happens when you anchor your life to the energy of Christ, not the approval of man. Your presence begins to carry an atmosphere that cannot be explained any other way. Rooms shift when you arrive. Heaviness lifts. Not because you say anything grand, but because your heart is clean, unburdened, aligned with a source that cannot be manipulated or exhausted. Let me bring you into the commission that always comes after vindication. Christ does not restore you just so you can have closure or comfort. He calls you out of the grave to call others. There is a mantle on your life, chosen one, and right now, the very place where you bled is where you will lead. The same heart that was rejected, misunderstood, pressured to shrink or surrender. That is the heart Christ wants to use as a channel for healing others. You will be sent back into spaces where skeletons are dancing and remind dry bones what it feels like to hope. You will hear stories from strangers that echo your old pain and realize you now carry the answer, not in theory but in testimony. You have authority over what tried to kill you, not just to protect yourself but to set other captives free. Every disappointment, every night you thought your tears were wasted has become oil. And it now coats your words, your prayers, your presence until even your silence breaks chains. Let me tell you the kind of impact you are about to have. Right now, people you once envied for their seeming stability or success are secretly broken and searching for the peace you now wear so effortlessly. You are being positioned at tables you did not build, invited to platforms that seemed out of reach, and in every setting your superpower is not charisma or argument, but a heart tuned to the frequency of Christ. People will test you, try to provoke the old wounds, but their weapons will not land. Instead, your response will mirror the grace that covered your own mess. You will know exactly when to speak, when to let silence do the healing, and when to walk away not out of defeat, but because you discern a greater assignment ahead. You will see divine reversals in real time. Deals that collapsed for you but succeeded for your enemies will now fall apart publicly. While new contracts come your way, signed and sealed with favor nobody can steal. The resources, allies, and open doors that were withheld in one season will come cascading in another, and you'll know it was never a matter of worthiness but of timing and trust. Let me take you deeper. This isn't just about outward victory but internal overflow. What once kept you up at 3 a.m. no longer has power to dictate your days. You no longer dread being alone. You enjoy solitude as communion. You wake up expecting goodness, not disaster. Your dreams are no longer plagued by old memories because those rooms have been exorcised by the light inside you now. What started as survival has become your sanctuary. You are not bracing for another attack. You are planning liberations for others. The panic that once paralyzed you at every uncertainty has been replaced with an expectation of surprise blessing. Doors you didn't know existed now swing open because the energy you carry attracts the pathways written for you since the beginning. It is not random. It is assignment. It is commission. It is the outflow of a heart aligned with Christ. I need you to know this transformation isn't fragile. The enemy gambled that if you lost enough, you'd turn bitter, but instead, every loss was compost. Roots went deeper. The enemy counted on your compassion collapsing, but your compassion became your covering. They expected you to become hard and unapproachable, but you became indestructible by gentleness. The gossip they spread has become your backdrop for God's glory. The silence they imposed on you has amplified the voice of heaven in your life. Now you walk with authority that doesn't require explanation. You love without strings, and that love undoes curses, breaks cycles, and multiplies peace. Let me leave you with this, chosen one. Right now, in this very hour, you are not just being restored, you are being unleashed. You are proof that the heart chakra aligned with Christ energy is not an idea but a revolution, one that ripples through every area of life, one that topples structures built on fear, one that creates family out of former enemies and multiplies bread in famine. They branded you fragile, but now you are feared for the power of your peace. They tried to write your ending, but you are writing chapters they never imagined. They weaponized silence, but heaven filled it with song. They orchestrated isolation, but Christ commissioned you as a gatherer. They plotted to curse your name, but now your name is spoken in prayers for blessing. They hoped you'd turn cold, but now you radiate warmth that melts suspicion, skepticism, and shame. Every disappointment watered the garden you now harvest. Right now, vindication is your companion, assignment is your mantle, overflow is your portion. Suddenly, overnight, irrevocably, what heaven wrote is unfolding and no power can reverse it. Chosen one, you are not here by accident. Right now, as you stand in this quiet convergence, you are proof that the storms that were sent to bury you only deepened your roots. What was meant to harden you turned you radiant. That's not a cliche. This is the fruit you are starting to taste, the evidence unfolding in real time, even as eyes are on you that never thought you would recover, let alone rise. Vindication is not just on the horizon, it is breaking into your life with a force no one, not even you, could manufacture. Let me take you into this miracle because the ones who orchestrated your exile are about to witness your elevation. There is a pattern emerging, at first subtle, then impossible to ignore. The phone calls that used to haunt you, the messages as cold as marble begin to shift. People who wrote you off, who talked circles behind your back, who built friendships on your exclusion, now circle back, giving you nervous praise, masked as casual check-ins. You see it, don't you? The same mouths that called you naive, too open-hearted, too soft, now try to decipher how you walk with this unforced joy. They want to know how you survived the seasons that would have broken them. You can see in their eyes that questions burn. How did you come through without bitterness? How does your laughter fill rooms after so much loss? How is your countenance not clouded but luminous? They ask about your secret, and you see behind the question regret, envy, even awe. Let me show you what vindication really looks like. Not as some flashy comeback, not with revenge, but with quiet reversal. Undeniable and humiliating for those who plotted otherwise. You have invitations you never expected, preceded by apologies never thought possible. The projects that were given to others, overlooked, swept aside, wrapped up with swagger, now falter, and their success rings hollow without your touch. Suddenly, decision-makers remember what you carried. Your absence leaves room for failure they can't explain, and your return is requested both for what you know and for the peace you bring to the atmosphere. The same boardroom where your silence was plotted now needs your perspective to move forward. The places you wept in secret will become the platforms from which you lead. I need you to grasp what's happening here. You are not merely being welcomed back. You are being sought out. Those who made you the outsider now need the wisdom pain cultured in you, wisdom that costs, insight wrung out from nights nobody saw. Revelation shaped by every setback, every no, every small miracle that kept you breathing. You don't walk in to prove anything. You walk in clothed in quiet authority, the kind that does not beg for respect, but commands it by simply being present. You no longer answer with explanations, you answer with results. Do you see it? The reversal is never just about your comfort, it is heaven's demonstration. The ones who expected to gloat over your grave now have to witness resurrection. Their eyes widen when the rumors they launched cannot survive the light of your integrity. Their delight in your delay becomes confusion in the face of your momentum. Suddenly, everything they claimed about you unravels. The narratives spun in back rooms do not match the evidence. You said nothing to defend yourself, but your life stands up to defend you. Unfinished business now favors you. Unopened doors unlock at your approach. Heaven reverses the verdict overnight. Let me take you deeper into your new commission, because vindication is a prelude, not a full stop. The world teaches commission as accolade, as a public reward, but Christ gives commission as a trust. He hands you the blueprints for liberation because you know what it is to be shackled. The authority on you is not the result of a title or approval. It's the result of choosing mercy when you could have chosen malice, peace where you could have poisoned, persistence when it would have been easier to settle for cynicism. You carry a presence that unlocks others' prisons because you refuse to surrender your own heart to bitterness. As you step into new rooms, you'll find wounded ones drawn to your shadow. They will not always have words, but you'll see it in their body language, the hesitation, the flicker of hope, the need. They are magnetized to you not by your outer achievement, but by your refusal to be reduced by disappointment. In conversation, you offer what no one else bothered to. Listening without agenda, advice without backhand, prayer that flows from experience, not performance. Your wounds have become wells for others. If you wonder why your heart feels heavy at times even now, it's because you are built to carry others, to lead them through the stages of their own reversal. Their secrets will find safe harbor with you because you never exploit pain for attention. Their broken places will feel seen because your own healed places radiate assurance that healing is possible. And heaven will trust you with more because you have proven you can be trusted with little. Trusted not to hoard blessing, but to multiply it. Provision will find you quickly now because God knows you will never withhold from those when prompted to give. Connections arrive out of nowhere, conversations opening at airports, emails you didn't initiate, introductions orchestrated by grace, not ambition. These are not distractions or coincidences. They are confirmations that you are walking in the slipstream of purpose. Your heart, fused to Christ's rhythm, becomes both compass and currency. You'll carry a discernment that exposes agendas without robbing you of compassion. You'll know who to welcome, who to release, who to cover in prayer, who to let walk. There will be moments, chosen one, when familiar tests resurface. The critics regroup. Old wounds try to rise. Circumstances conspire to replay scenes that once nearly undid you. Remember, now you know what to do. You recognize the setup. You see the contours of old warfare, but their grip has weakened. You are not the same person. This is not the same battle. Your loyalty is not to protecting yourself, but to releasing heaven's heart. You will shock people with your patience, your readiness to forgive, your refusal to play the old parts assigned to you. And this will disarm your attackers faster than any arguments. The cycle is broken every time you love in the face of contempt, every time you bless when provoked. Even as you move from reversal to commission, your influence will multiply, sometimes quietly, sometimes in a flood. One conversation uncorks a chain reaction. One act of generosity sets off a season of provision for those caught in scarcity. You will become a lighthouse for those navigating storms you outlasted. The seeds you sow in secret, encouragement, money, time, prayer, will bear fruit in strangers, in nations, in generations you will never see with your eyes but will sense in your spirit. This is the gravity of your life now. What you release echoes wide. What you bless multiplies in unforeseen places. As the blessing expands and the evidence grows, people may try to diminish the miracle, to say it was timing, luck, or happenstance. But you know it was never luck. It was costly trust. There were others who started with you stronger, louder, better resourced, but they scattered when the sacrifices mounted. They chose comfort over commission, approval over authenticity. You chose to stay in the press. You let the anvil of adversity shape you. And for that reason, what God has put on you now cannot be copied, cannot be bought, cannot be stripped by scandal or season. This is permanent. This is generational. Lean in right now, because this is the decree over your life, right now, as you read and breathe and dare to believe. They set the stage for your failure, but you became the example no one can ignore. They used their words to bind you, but heaven's word has released you. Their envy sent you into isolation, but Christ's love commissioned you as a gatherer. They buried you in anonymity, but now your presence is known where it matters. They hoped you would lose, diminish, retreat, but your light only intensifies. Their accusation crumbled in the face of your patience. Their closed doors became your new thresholds. Every missed opportunity is now replaced by something surpassing what you dreamed. Every bitter ending has become a fountain of new beginnings. Over and over again right now, as schedules change and old alliances dissolve and every tongue that rose against you sees its own prophecy reverse. You are walking in the full restoration of the heart, the energy of Christ blazing through every barrier. No plot, no curse, no opposition can hold you captive now. This is your hour. This is your mantle. This is the irrevocable vindication and commission assigned to you. Suddenly, overnight now, it is finished, and it has only just begun. Chosen one, the world has not seen the fullness of what your risen heart can release. Right now, as you move forward, carrying the aftermath of loss turned to legacy, you are triggering reactions and responses in the unseen and the seen. The reversal was never destined to be a blip or a brief moment, but the ongoing pulse of your new reality, a rhythm of vindication that keeps exposing the failed strategies of your adversaries and the lazy underestimations of bystanders. Where the enemy tried to keep you circled with old labels, heaven has annotated your name with new honor. The words spoken against you last season have lost their stickiness. Not just untrue now, irrelevant, powerless, dissolved in the flow of your peace. Let me tell you, this reversal is not quiet anymore. It's moving like wildfire through the rooms that discounted you, through the hearts that withheld, through the systems that stalled your rising. People who dismissed your resolve when you stood alone are now rethinking everything they believed about strength, about resilience, about what it means to bounce back. You have become the question mark, the story people whisper about. How did she recover? How did he rebound from public failure? How did they keep loving, giving, hoping with so little left? And now, the only answer that holds is the presence surrounding you. The gravity pulling close what once refused to draw near. You notice the shift in conversations. Where there once was critique, now there is study. They examine what you do, how you think, who you touch. Some reach for alignment, hoping what lifted you might rub off and rescue their own diminishing plans. But you aren't swayed by their sudden interest. You recognize favor is not for flaunting, and that when vindication comes, it is not leverage but stewardship. With every gift you've been given, you become more careful, more prayerful, because you've seen what happens when people handle power out of brokenness instead of wholeness. You let the Spirit guide your speech, measure your pace, check your motives, not out of fear but out of deep knowing. Those who kneel at the feet of Christ find themselves trusted with what matters. And still, the flow of restoration accelerates. Where your reputation was dragged, now it is being dusted off and crowned. Where your finances were sabotaged by lost deals, delayed payments, and unexpected costs, now there is a river of resource forming. Checks come with notes of apology. Fees once set in stone suddenly get reversed. People who had the power to release provision but withheld it out of spite or doubt now extend it, not out of guilt, though they might think so, but out of compulsion, because your heart has become a magnet for right things at the right time. There is a measurable momentum, and it is not manufactured by sleepless striving. but by daily surrender. You watch as your needs shrink before your eyes, as what was once out of reach quietly appears in your inbox on your desk, as if it had been there all along. Divine timing is always late to doubters, but right on time to the faithful. Let me take you closer to the curve of this commission. Vindication is just the confirmation. Now comes the assignment. And here are the doors. Doors into places where hearts remain armored. Doors for people who don't yet have language for what's been released in you. There are circles who think they do not need what you carry, bent on self-preservation, armored by sarcasm and suspicion. But when crisis hits, when the sturdy world they built begins to shake, they remember there was a softness in you, a calm that could not be explained away. Those are your fields. You have permission now to enter, to hold space, to model what it is to live free of grudge and heavy with grace. The people least likely to admit their hunger for restoration are the ones that find themselves opening up in your presence. You must realize by now, this is not about numbers or acclaim. Your fruit is measured by transformed atmospheres. Watch what happens when you walk into a tense meeting and voices hush without you raising a finger. Notice the peace that settles in anxious households after you visit, the way children gravitate towards you, how strangers reveal aches they never voice to family. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that you are walking in your Christ-commissioned calling, a walking healing, a living assurance that trauma is not destiny, that rejection is not irredeemable. You release forgiveness in spaces saturated with old suspicion, even when no one apologizes, and slowly the chain breaks. Patterns shift. Room temperature changes, hope sneaks back in, cautious but curious if you're the proof it can stay. Now watch, because boldness is increasing right now. The people who hesitated to publicly celebrate you out of fear or jealousy suddenly start attaching themselves, reposting your words, retelling your testimony, even rewriting history to say they always believed in you. You're not misled by flattery. You know now to love kind but keep boundaries holy. This isn't pride, it's wisdom born from your own pain. Not everyone who circles back is meant to stay, and not everyone who helped bury you gets to eat from your table. Some will apologize, others won't. It won't matter because your heart is too full to keep score, but wise enough to choose company. Let me tell you another secret about this commission. Your very existence cracks open what the enemy declared was closed forever. You notice it most when speaking with people who feel their situation is hopeless, fixed, fated to repeat. Something in your story, your posture, your quiet confidence tells them this. Cycles can end. You do not even have to preach long sermons. Sometimes a few words, sometimes a gentle look, sometimes just your undivided attention speaks more than theology to a wound that is tired of apologies but desperate for proof. Yes, you're called to the up and outs as well as the down and outs. The ones who hid their struggle behind performance, whose alliances were built on mutual insecurity, start to confide in you. They might test you at first, try to see if your joy can be broken, but you will not be shaken. You will weep with those who weep, but you will also refuse to partner with self-pity. They will come expecting commiseration and leave infected with hope. Right now, as this commission settles on you, expect complexity. There will be spaces where your presence unsettles as much as it heals. Don't interpret resistance as failure. Remember, light feels like exposure to those who've adjusted to darkness. There will be rumors, attempts to reinterpret your rise, conversations you are not invited to, attempts to remake your story to fit their comfort. Let them talk. Let them study. You do not owe explanations to people committed to misunderstanding you. The fruit will endure. The ones who are assigned to you will find you. Do not chase those who exit just before harvest. They serve as fertilizer for a field you could not enter while you were still wounded. You will walk into rooms built to contain you and find them unlocked, ceilings gone. You will see faces once hardened by old conflict breaking in the warmth you carry. Even your enemies will taste your blessing, not understanding why the tables have turned and yet sensing their own deliverance is tied to how they treat you now. Chosen one. This is the moment to drop every last remnant of shame, every scrap of hesitation. You are not just restored, you are rebranded. Not a survivor, but a harbinger of new beginnings. Not the rejected, but the recommissioned. The echo over your life is clear. You are not going backward. The details that have not yet resolved will fall into place as you walk forward. Miracles will find you in motion. Provision will flow when you move, not when you pause to analyze. Right now, as you take these words in, feel the old fatigue draining and the anticipation of new victories rising. You will not spend your strength defending your own credentials. You will live as evidence. You will be the proof. So hear this decree sealed over your spirit and written in the annals of heaven. They spoke closure, but you became a new chapter. They counted you out, but now you are the standard. They hedged their bets, but you doubled your portion. They bypassed your heart, but now your love is the gold standard. They left you out of the celebration, but the party would not start until your arrival. Their ceiling became your floor. Their plans failed at the edge of your breakthrough. The night they thought was your ending became the dawn of your anointing. The lies that shaped last season now wither unspoken as new truth overtakes the narrative. All that was withheld is released. All that was stolen is made manifest with double for your trouble. All the silence is filled with song. Every loss is recompensed. Every scar is radiant. This is your commission. This is your reversal. This is your day of vindication. Not tomorrow, not someday far off. Right now, suddenly, without apology or delay. Heaven says it is accomplished. Earth responds, doors swing, angels rejoice, enemies scatter. It is settled, sealed, secure. So walk forward, chosen one, in the full measure of everything promised and nothing denied.